The air in the law office felt thick and sterile. The kind of place where dreams went to quietly die under fluorescent lights. I sat at the end of the long mahogany table, my hands folded in my lap to hide their tremble, while my father Marcus and sister Vanessa exchanged knowing glances across from me. Their tailored suits and polished smiles made the room feel even smaller. Attorney Hargrove cleared his throat, flipping through the papers with deliberate slowness, as if he dreaded the words he was about to speak. "To Lena Brooks," he began, his voice even but laced with discomfort. "The property located at 1723 Elmwood Lane in Portland," along with one item conveyed directly. He reached into his briefcase and slid a small yellowed envelope across the table toward me. Inside was nothing but a single rusted key, its surface pitted and dull like something pulled from the bottom of a forgotten drawer. Silence fell for half a second before Vanessa's sharp laugh broke it. "A key? That's it." She twirled her designer bracelet, her smirk widening. "At least it's not another one of her therapy bills." Marcus leaned back, his preacher-like posture relaxing into condescension. "You've always had a soft spot for old junk, Lena. Consider this your antique starter kit." The rest of the family chuckled softly, the sound echoing off the wood-paneled walls like a private joke I wasn't invited to. I didn't respond. I simply slipped the key into my jacket pocket, feeling its rough edges press against my palm, and nodded as if this was exactly what I'd expected. Deep down, maybe it was. I'd been the afterthought for years, the youngest, the quiet one who didn't chase the spotlight or the family fortune. They called me unstable behind my back, cropped me from photos at reunions, and whispered that I didn't belong. Grandpa Elias had been the only one who saw me differently. After the reading, in the lounge with its catered wine and self-congratulatory toasts, I stood alone near the window with a lukewarm coffee. No one offered me a chair. Vanessa flaunted a new diamond watch, already calculating how much more she'd inherit. I watched them laugh and clink glasses, remembering the last time I'd seen Grandpa smile, covered in sawdust in his workshop when I was 10. He'd handed me a chisel and said, "You don't need to shout to leave your mark, Lena." Sometimes the quiet ones carve the deepest. That memory burned as I left the office and drove home, the key heavy in my pocket. That night, curiosity won out over pride. I looked up 1723 Elmwood Lane. My chest tightened. The house where Grandpa taught me to ride a bike, where we'd sit on the porch eating popsicles and watching fireflies. Why leave me that crumbling place? The next morning, before the sun burned off the coastal fog, I drove out. The neighborhood hadn't changed much, narrow streets lined with leaning trees. The house hunched at the corner, paint peeling like old skin, mailbox rusted shut, one window boarded. It looked condemned. But something stirred in me as I climbed the creaking steps and turned the rusted key in the lock. The door groaned open, releasing a wave of mildew, dust, and faint metallic tang. Beneath the decay lingered warmth, like an old hug. The living room was cluttered with broken furniture and shadows. I nearly missed the drawer where a single cracked frame photo waited, me at 6, grinning in Grandpa's lap. They called this trash. I whispered to the empty room. But this house remembers me. I wandered room to room, floorboards creaking underfoot, a scratch on the wall from my childhood bike, faded stars Grandpa painted on the bedroom ceiling. Forgotten by them, but not by these walls. My phone rang. Vanessa. Her voice dripped with fake sweetness. "If you need help junking that eyesore, Dad knows a crew." I ended the call without a word and placed the key on the mantel beside the photo like an offering. They thought they'd humiliated me into silence. But something about this place whispered otherwise. Later that day, when my apartment power flickered out, I grabbed a flashlight, gloves, and drove back to Elmwood Lane. The sky hung low with clouds. Grass grew knee-high, doves nested under the porch. I unlocked the door. The air thicker now. Bitter. In what used to be my bedroom. The mural had faded, but the closet door showed scars where my painted name had been scraped off. Someone had deliberately erased Lena's room. My chest tightened. They'd turned my past into a ghost before I could claim it. In a drawer, beneath a cracked mirror, faint initials etched, L+E. 1998. Grandpa's. They'd tried to wipe me clean. That evening, as candles flickered and wind tapped branches against glass, I heard porch creaks that weren't the house settling. Footsteps? I checked, nothing. But the silence felt watchful. The next morning, a hollow knock sounded under my foot in the hallway, different from the usual groans of old wood. Sharp. Intentional. Like tapping a hidden box. I froze, candle in hand, and pressed again. The same dull thud. Kneeling, I ran fingers along the seams. Nothing obvious. The rusted key wedged in a crack bent but held. I fetched Grandpa's old crowbar from the backyard shed, its oily rags still wrapped around the handle like he'd left it yesterday. Prying gently, the board lifted. Beneath lay a recessed metal plate, dusty and cool. Inside, a cloth-bound notebook with gold-stitched initials E.B., Elias Brooks, and a yellowed Polaroid of me holding a kite in the yard. Grandpa kneeling beside. On the back, in his sharp script, she remembers. I sat cross-legged on the floor, candlelight dancing over pages of dates, locations, symbols that looked almost military. Then a chilling line. If anything happens to me, find Reuben. Trust only her. Reuben, Grandpa's old army buddy who'd visited for holidays when I was little. I hadn't seen him in years. By afternoon, I was at Rainier Meadows Assisted Living, a quiet facility tucked behind shops. The receptionist directed me to room 112. Reuben's gravelly voice answered my knock. If you're selling something, I'm broke. Pushing the door open, I saw an older man in an armchair, eyes clear and amused. Well, I'll be damned. Elias's girl. He recognized me instantly, recounting how I'd run barefoot yelling the moon was mine. I showed him the photo. His smile faltered. Elias never trusted anyone with those keys but you. He handed me a weathered envelope he'd held for years, given in 2018 with instructions to pass it when the time came. Inside, a hand-drawn map of Portland marked in red, a cipher key, and authorization for a safety deposit box in my name at Portland Heritage Bank. A note warned, they'll come for it. Don't open until ready. That night in the kitchen, candle flickering, I stared at the ceiling. I'd skipped visiting Grandpa in his final weeks, telling myself work was too busy. Truth was, watching him fade hurt too much. Now I wondered if he'd waited for me. The wind picked up outside. Grandpa, I whispered. I'm listening. The following morning, the mailbox held a letter postmarked 2 years earlier, addressed in Grandpa's hand, dated my 30th birthday, the day I'd spent alone. I sat on the porch swing, hands shaking as I broke the seal. His words bled across the page. If you're reading this, I left too quietly. Forgive me. I couldn't leave them everything. The inheritance isn't gold, but proof. Protect it. He spoke of watching his children twist legacies into leverage, of silence as a burden. The letter pointed to the safety deposit box, last updated 2019 when he grew thin and distant. My phone buzzed. Vanessa. Just checking in. Dad says you might be emotional about that old place. Her tone was too casual. We're meeting zoning folks soon for the area around Elmwood. You're still on paperwork. The push was clear. You want me to sign it away? I asked flatly. Her laugh was short. Win-win. Less hassle. Tell them they don't get this land without my voice. Her tone hardened. It's about control. Exactly why I'm done giving mine away. I hung up, surrounded by the journal, cipher, and letter. I lit another candle. If this is the path, I'll follow it. Grandpa's final line echoed, "Don't forget who you were with me." That version I trusted with the truth. I arrived at Portland Heritage Bank just after opening. The sterile scent of polished tile and recycled air hit me. Dressed simply, I presented ID. The receptionist paused at the record. "This box hasn't been accessed in years." She led me to private access and handed over the metal box. The seal cracked easily, already disturbed. Inside, a half-torn empty envelope, black USB drive, folded paper, and blueprint of 1723 Elmwood Lane with red circles on the back hallway closet and living room fireplace. Margin note: real history isn't hidden. It's buried in plain sight. Something heavier had once been stored there, leaving an indentation. I photographed everything, pocketed the USB, and drove to the university library's public station. No password. Dozens of files, receipts, emails, names of lawyers, appraisers, zoning officials. Spreadsheet showed transfers through Shell nonprofit, Brooks Future Foundation, offshore moves, fake donations. A voice memo in Grandpa's weary voice. "If you're hearing this, they've come looking. Don't trust your sister, especially." PDFs showed Vanessa's signature on fake grants to vacant lots. Confirmation of what I'd suspected, her polished achiever mask hid rust. I didn't confront yet. That night, I called her. "Did you ever visit Grandpa's bank before he passed?" Beat of silence. "No." "Why?" The lie was smooth. "Just checking." I hung up, whispering, "Keep lying." Late afternoon, blueprint in hand, I returned to the house. Light slanted through broken blinds. In the back hallway closet, I moved coats, felt the dip in floorboards, pried up the lower one. False bottom held a taped manila folder and cracked cassette labeled 1989, Elias estate plan. Records, ledgers, checks to the foundation signed by Vanessa and Marcus. Traced to shell companies. City officials praised in papers while funds vanished. Grandpa's USB echoed. "If they smile too quickly, check the money trail." My phone buzzed, a social media post tagging me. "Some people can't let go when the will speaks." Old, unflattering photo of me. Shared widely with comments calling me bitter. Unstable. They wanted to erase my story too. Needing air. I walked to the corner diner, same yellow booths from childhood. Silence fell when I entered. A waitress whispered, showing the post. "Not everything inherited is deserved." I left without ordering. In the garage, the second blueprint led to an army green footlocker behind paint cans. Bolt cutters snapped the lock. Inside, cassette recorder. Grandpa's voice filled the space. "If you're hearing this, Lena, they've tried to rewrite you. Don't let them." Marcus and Vanessa pressured me during hospital stays. Framed it as simplification. "I wanted it all to you. You showed up without expecting gain." I sat on the concrete floor, recorder in hand, words hitting like never-heard confessions. They'd stopped him. That night, I scanned every page at the library, created a new email, attached evidence, and sent to a trusted alumni lawyer. Original will. Possible coercion. Strategy over silence. Next day. Break-in. Back door ajar. Latch cracked. Foot locker smashed. Recorder gone. Papers scattered. Red spray paint above mantle. Let it go or we will. Rage surged hotter than fear. Police report yielded little. Likely someone who knows the property. A glossy newsletter slipped under the door announced, Elias Brooks' legacy exhibit at Portland Arts Hall. Photos showed only Vanessa, Marcus, cousins, me digitally removed from Grandpa's 80th birthday portrait. Revision had become extermination. I attended the exhibit uninvited. Crowd buzzed under shallow reverence. Vanessa spoke from spotlight. My father taught stewardship. I moved to the wall, overhearing praise for Callahan women. She curated with an eraser. I told a colleague quietly, then left. Called my mother. I saw the exhibit.
Pause.
Not worth fighting. Lena. Something snapped quietly. I needed you to say something once. Her silence answered. That night, I journaled. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. I packaged scans, original photo with me included, mailed anonymously to a journalist, the unnamed heir and estate no one wants seen. Uploaded my unedited photo online. You can edit me out of pictures, but not the truth. Next. Dress simply, black blazer. Slacks. I carried a flash drive labeled Brooks Family Real Archives to the exhibit's second day. At the tech booth, mislabeled file from family. Tech inserted it. Lights dimmed. Grandpa appeared on screen. If you're seeing this, I've let truth speak. Marcus and Vanessa coerced, manipulated, laundered through unauthorized nonprofit. Callista, Vanessa, knew and helped. I amended will under pressure. Intent always for Lena, she showed up without gain. Gasps rippled. Vanessa rushed the booth. Turn it off. Too late. Truth with a microphone. Room split, curiosity versus avoidance. I walked out into cool fall air. A stranger in brown cap handed thick envelope. Some people noticed. You were right not to sign. Photos showed Marcus passing padded envelope to zoning official. Timestamped attempts to sell Elmwood quietly. Morning after. Media swarmed. News vans. Headlines. Brooks patriarch exposes family fraud. I watched from the kitchen window at 17:23. Coffee cold. A plain envelope on the mat held screenshots of Vanessa's emails. Get her to sign. She doesn't understand what she's holding. I requested formal freeze on land changes at city records, citing pending fraud investigation. Restricted call from Marcus. You don't understand the damage.
No.
You covered it up. He hung up. I walked the house, hand on Grandpa's worn chair. Memory can't be fully overwritten. At 10, sanding wood here. He'd taught circling motions, letting grain guide. I wasn't just defending a house. I protected the man who taught building. Local paper op-ed. Forgotten granddaughter saves truth. No photo. Just my name. Justice felt like surviving a funeral. Unexpected knock. Mother on porch with manila envelope. What should never have been taken? Original unaltered will inside. Grandpa's margin notes. If this ends with Lena, she still believes in me. Ache settled without tears. Formal complaint filed with DOJ. Vanessa suspended from board. Marcus summoned. Family name became cautionary tale. Neighbors waved again. Old classmate thanked me for truth. Another story. From silence to justice. I painted the door deep green. Planted lavender. Added plaque. Elias Brooks. Guardian of quiet stories. University letter requested archival access. I became custodian. Rehung unedited photo of us laughing. Mother returned with old scarf. They still don't understand. But I do. Quiet closure. Resignations followed. House registered as private archive. During school tour, docent told kids, a man who kept secrets, and a woman who revealed them. Final morning. Cellar panel revealed tin box. Final letter. Polaroid camera. Affidavit from hospice nurse confirming coercion and isolation. Blueprint of scholarship trust with house as keystone. They pushed too far. I tried but failed. I scanned and shared with journalists and researchers. Headlines: betrayed by his own blood. Donors fled. Ethics review launched. My quote: I didn't burn bridges. I lit the truth so you could see who crossed them. At front yard dedication, professors spoke of preserved memory. I planted marigolds, sat on steps with iced tea watching sunset. I thought I needed apologies. What I needed was space to speak unedited. Grandpa's story wasn't finished until that last hidden wall. The house became more than home. It kept his quiet stories alive. But as lavender bloomed and wind rustled the plaque, one question lingered. In families that rewrite history, how many truths stay buried because no one dares pry up the floorboards?